Welcome, Mads.
Hello.
Welcome, George.
Hey.
How are we?
Good.
Yeah,
well, thanks.
Good.
How are
Feeling
you?
well? Yeah, I'm good. It's a nice sunny day outside.
It is.
But we are here to chat about school readiness.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
Yeah, a big topic that crosses lots of different clinicians' desks, I'm sure, in terms of their role in supporting kids to be school ready and that
I think
kind
as
of
well,
thing.
like now being
it's
like the end of the term.
Yeah, nearing the
end of the year.
End of year. I mean, that's going to come around so quickly. But for a lot of families, they're obviously starting to think about what needs to happen for my child to get to school next year if they're at that age. So we thought we'd have a chat about what comes to mind for a lot of people, both clinicians and families, I suppose, when we're thinking about kids being school ready. What we as OTs, or at least here at Kid Link, often set goals around and consider, and how we can really ensure a smooth transition for our kids, no matter what kind of school-based environment they'll be going into as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we often have parents come in and start the conversation around this mid-year term 3 kind of they've locked in what school they've potentially chosen for their child. The kinders started having conversations with them about how their kid has been going, and they come in really like, maybe if it's their oldest child, quite intimidated by the thought of sending their kid to big school for the first time. So we come in, I think this is the time of year we get approached with the most questions and things like that.
Absolutely. And how do I actually make this successful for my child? So when I was brainstorming this topic, I was like, all right, what do I usually get questions about from families around, is my child school ready? And something that often pops up is, I guess, for lack of a better umbrella term, like the academic skills are often the first question that a lot of parents ask. Their literacy and numeracy skills, and are they going to be able to keep up as soon as they get to school? So I think that it's important for us that we were just having a chat about like what that means as well, because like, what is school? Like, that's where you go to learn those things.
Yeah. I know that I get a lot of questions, or like families coming in being like, they can't write yet, or they don't know the alphabet. And there is sort of that really strong focus on those more cognitive abilities. Which I think it's part of our role as OTs to, support families to also understand there is that the social emotional side, which is just as important. To be school ready. For school readiness.
So when we let's kind of have a brainstorm then. Like, what skills do we think about when we think about like a child going to school? What school-based demands are placed upon a child that they might need skills within these areas?
I think there's a lot of executive functioning demands that are placed on children in academic environments. We've got to follow instructions. We've got to follow along our peers. We need to assess, multiple instructions at once and follow a pattern and learn a new routine.
Cope with changes in that routine.
Absolutely.
Put our hand up. Not call out.
Keep track of our belongings. There's so much stuff that we have to use those executive functions for. And that can be really different to, particularly if a child has not been to like a structured kindergarten. They've been in like a childcare kindergarten program where it's been a bit more flexible and a bit more open. They may never have been, if they haven't done any community groups or anything, never been exposed to a really structured community activity where they follow along with a large group of peers.
Because I can't remember who I was speaking to it about the other day, but we were talking about how kinder is so child-led most of the time. And yes, they might sit down and read a book or do an activity as a group, but genuinely most of the time is spent child-led, choosing what they want to play.
They can sort of transition
in
from
and outside
one activity to the other whenever they want to.
So to pop them into a structured environment like a traditional mainstream setting classroom, I suppose, where there are expectations where we move around as a group often, that we eat at certain times, that we go to toilet at certain times as well. All of those things, like being able to actually manage all the executive functioning demands there is huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think self-care goes really hand in
Yeah.
hand with the executive functions as well. There's a lot more responsibility for our self-care than we've ever had before when we're in prep. Like you were saying, like if we get told that it's lunchtime and you've got to sit down and eat your lunch, but you need to learn the skill that you eat your lunch now because you won't get a snack later.
Yes.
You know, you don't get a snack until mum or dad picks you up.
And even like going to the toilet at lunch and snack time. Like there's that sort of expectation that we now need to go to the toilet in these
the break.
particular times.
Or knowing that it'll take you 2 minutes to walk to the bathrooms, or you'll have to wait until a buddy can come with you. I know a lot of schools do buddy systems, so not leaving it so late that you won't make it the 2-minute walk to get to the bathrooms in your classroom. Things like that are really important things that kids have to kind of, we want to support kids to be able to learn when they get to school.
I guess also that toileting hygiene.
Yes.
You no longer have a parent, and I know some kinders still sort of support with that.
Yeah, and they generally have sort of like a it's not like an open bathroom, like but that most kinders don't have like toilet doors on the toilet cubicle itself and that kind of thing. So just learning all those skills.
But like, it's no longer sort of an open accessible toilet. It's more sort of, you know, the cubicle.
Yeah.
You got to be a lot more independent with your toileting.
Self-care is a huge one. And again, generally pretty supported in a kinder environment versus this really big step to, you got to kind of do these things somewhat independently.
Even like I got hot running around in the playground and I took my jumper off. That's your jumper.
Yeah, where did I put it?
You've got to hold on to it. You've got to bring it back to your bag. All of those things, absolutely, So self-care is a big one. And I guess when we're talking about bathrooms and cubicles and things like that and self-care and feeding, it makes me think of fine motor. And so people go, fine motor, prep, it's writing. And
just writing.
I'm like, no, it's opening your popcorn. It's snibbing the lock on the cubicle.
Opening your drink bottle, opening your containers.
Yeah, doing the zip up on your jacket so we don't have to access the teacher every time we want to get like take it off. Or shoelaces, a big one. Especially for like our like taller kids. Like Velcro shoes are not always an option.
I think they're actually getting a lot.
They are getting better. Yeah, they are. It's apparently sometimes it's actually cool to wear adult Velcro now.
I have adult Velcro.
But yes, fine motor is huge and not just the writing. And I think that a lot of parents worry that if they can't write letters outside of their name, they're going to really struggle as well. Or they haven't established hand dominance. So how are they going to go to school?
I also think there's a huge social demand as well in terms of you're a lot less supervised in the playground, with kinder being a lot like, you know, one room or one outside the schoolyard is huge. So I guess that conflict management comes into play. You know, joining in a group, especially towards the start of the year, it's initiating play, being able to say hello, all of those sort of demands can be tricky.
And again, like often in kinder, play is often revolving around like an item or a toy or an activity, versus at break times at school there's a playground, an oval, maybe a sandpit.
Maybe some painting, some like hopscotch and like that sort of stuff.
Down ball on the basketball courts and that kind of thing, but not necessarily as structured or set up as a kinder environment. So again, our kids that perhaps do have difficulties initiating play or sustaining play when there's not like a tangible thing, that can be really tricky for them in the school environment as well.
I guess as well, like navigating the schoolyard when there's older kids, much older kids as well, like your little tiny
grade
humans.
Sixes are big compared to preps, aren't they?
They're running, they're, you know, chasing balls. So it can be quite scary, you know, navigating the yard. I know like lots of schools do have a separate prep space and
they do.
all of that, which is definitely helpful, but you know, you do have to leave that prep space for toilet or if you're need to go anywhere else.
Absolutely. Or if they have to like go and find their sibling before or after school or that kind of thing, they generally have to leave that little secluded prep area, that kind of thing. Something that we talk a lot about, I guess, is like social emotional skills, but that readiness to be able to cope in a school environment from an emotional perspective. So again, we're speaking quite broadly, but what kinds of demands or things would we hope that a child can navigate to a degree within that social emotional space?
Yeah, something that comes to mind for me is whether a child, when they're having like a big emotion, maybe they're having a tricky time, whether they're able to access, like they know to access an adult to get to help them, a safe adult to help them. Yeah. Again, in kinder, the teacher's right there. So you sit there and you're crying. Someone's going to be there in 5 seconds.
There's often multiple adults in a kinder environment as well.
The ratio is much, much higher. Yeah. And so I would hope that it would be a skill that we'd support kids to have, to be able to access help for their feelings. We also want to be, depending on their communication preferences and abilities, we'd want to be building their ability to let us know which feeling they're having and potentially why. Yeah. And maybe that's a conversation after they've kind of come through the other side of that. But that's a skill that will be emerging at that kind of age and stage for sure.
I guess also being able to recognise like other people's emotions as well.
Yeah, and adjust your actions around that, particularly from a social perspective. Yeah. School days are long days. Like let's not forget that kids are going from generally kind of like maybe 3 days at kinder to full days, 5 days a week. Yeah. They might have like Wednesdays, half days or off in the first 6 weeks of term, but like emotionally it's a lot for our kids. So we're building up those coping skills as well to balance kind of fatigue and emotion. We all know that we can all get cranky when we're tired and we're overworked and we're doing something new and that kind of thing. So it's all really important for us to talk about these things. But I suppose like when we were talking about how we can make this a helpful podcast episode, we were really talking about as clinicians, what is our role in this space, and also flag that schools really need to be neuroaffirming and that it's still the school's responsibility to offer inclusive settings and provide reasonable adjustments to meet a child's needs, regardless of their development or strengths or challenges and that kind of thing, because all kids reserve the right to go to school and feel safe at school and that kind of thing. So, yes, we are talking about skills here, but as OTs, we often speak a lot to the PEO model, which if you're not an OT, the PEO, we're talking about person, environment, occupation. And when we're talking about skills, we're often talking about that P. But that's not to say that we can't still set up a child for a nice, smooth transition to school if those P skills are still building. And we really want to look at that environment. And when we talk about the occupations, we're talking about the tasks that they're doing and that kind of thing. So we were saying that like when we are supporting a family and a child to get school ready, we need it to be a holistic approach.
Yep.
What does it need to be, Mads?
We need a ready kinder, a ready school, a ready family, which equals a ready child. Yeah. And equals a smooth transition.
I love that.
Yeah. So a whole team.
Like, I feel like I need some kind of like cute little visual of it to like flash on the screen here, because it's really important that we can't just like assume it's going to just go smoothly for a lot of our kids, and that kinder needs to really feel like they have been supported and know that child to be able to inform the school of what supports they may need. What works well for that child, that kind of thing.
And unfortunately, we can't expect that the teachers are well equipped to support a child who may have additional needs. I've had so many powerful conversations with teachers who are like, I wish they taught me this in uni, or now I know this for this child. I can apply this to 3 other kids in my class who are having the similar challenge. And like teachers and schools really need to be encouraged to access more education about supporting a diverse group of children and different needs and things like that. But we can't assume that the teacher knows all the information that we know about how that child might be best supported. And so that's where we need to play a really collaborative role in that handover into big school.
So how do we, at least here at Kid Link, what are some things that we do to support a ready school when a child is going to that school?
So we often will do transition summaries. So that looks like just a report which outlines the current skills that the child has, both strengths but also the things that may be a bit more challenging for them. Looking at the skills, maybe they haven't quite developed that skill just yet. And then a bunch of recommendations that we know. Strategies that can support them within the classroom, outside the classroom. So it's sort of one document that does outline all of the above.
Yep, love it. I love to, alongside that, do a little bit of an about me page with the child.
Great one.
A 1 or 2 page kind of like, what do I like to do? What are my strengths? What am I good at? What do I find tricky? And putting in there things like, particularly if it's been a goal of yours in therapy around like emotional regulation and that kind of thing, like how might you notice if I'm having a bit of a hard time? What helps me? And what kind of environmental supports help me participate and that kind of thing. And I think that can be really helpful for kids as well if they're like, I love to phrase it as like it's an opportunity for your teacher to get to know you before they've even met you. And this can go to your art teacher and your sport teacher and that kind of thing. And kids love to know that teachers know them.
And
that they are showing genuine interest in setting them up for success.
And I think it builds that trust as well. Like if a teacher was to come to a student and go, oh, I know you love dinosaurs or I know you love Barbies, that really does build that connection and that trust, which is so important when the child is transitioning.
Yeah, I think including in those documents the things that have helped me in the past or the things that are helping me at kinder right now, like at kinder when I'm playing, I usually have a grown-up supporting me. It's really important for school to know that this child has in the past 12 months only been engaging in facilitated play or I need instructions to be written out and spoken to because I sometimes forget what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
I have trouble directing my attention.
20 minutes of play is my max kind of thing.
Yeah.
When lunchtime is 50 minutes, it's like, okay, how do we kind of set this child up with some kind of activity, structured play outside of that window so that they're not getting into conflicts or that kind of thing. We also really love to, where possible, reach out to the teachers before the school year has even started, if that is possible.
Yeah, if the parents know who the teacher will be.
But also we really push for clinicians, whether it be ourselves or if somebody else is able to do it, like a clinician being present in any kind of like SSGs or that kind of thing, because sometimes like we do as much as we can to help these families feel ready as well. But unfortunately, we do get a lot of feedback that schools perhaps put more weight on the words clinicians provide to school than parents provide to school, sometimes around like their support and learning needs and that kind of thing. So establishing that communication with the school as early as possible is super important.
And that's where so many schools now have a really well-equipped wellbeing team.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the exact teacher you can work within that wellbeing team, those are going to be the members of the school who are helping you run SSGs and create individual learning plans and things like that for the kids. So that will be a contact that you know, because that is the main contact for that whole school.
Yes.
And you may have had previous engagement with them with other kids as well, which is always helpful when you've got a bit of a relationship with the local schools.
Yeah. I also think that for us, we're really lucky that as OTs, like seeing kids or observing kids in a natural environment can provide so much information to us that sometimes the family isn't even aware of.
Yeah.
And so I'll often discuss with families around, maybe at the, 4 to 6 week marker. Once they've started school, I'll go out there and I'll just see how they're going in the classroom and catch up with the teacher and that kind of thing, because obviously we're not going to do it from day dot. It takes a while to settle in for our kids, but some kind of observation from our perspective at least is really important and helpful for, again, getting everyone on that smooth transition page. I
think something that we also do here at Kid Link that maybe supports the family a little bit more is a school readiness group.
Yeah.
So we try and run a school readiness group, in term 3 and then at the start of...
Yeah, in the summer holidays as well.
Just to, I guess, have a bit of a practice of what a school day might look like, the transitions, the instructions, the interacting with new people, the play. So I think that's really beneficial for families. We then provide a summary at the end to sort of say these are the supports that your child needed, which then if they are going off to school, it then in that transition summary, it then complements that quite well of this is what we observed, this is what helped.
Yep.
So
We've actually tried this with this child. It's not just like...
It's not a generic recommendation.
They like movement, so we reckon you should give them a movement break. It's like, no, in our sessions with them, we observe these things.
Yeah. And I think off the back of that, like having perhaps seen the child at kinder, having them in the group, then seeing them in the school environment, like we want to get as much real life kind of information as we possibly can. It's really hard if you're only working with a child in a one-on-one capacity to really know,
especially
how
from like
that's
a
gonna look.
social perspective. Like we're adults.
Exactly.
So we can sort of change our...
And again, families might not know because generally they're kind of just reflecting on, like they play well with their sibling, but their sibling's 4 years older, they lead the play or whatever it might be. So again, that's a great opportunity to inject some kind of real life socialization. What might that look like at school, that kind of thing.
Another tool I think we use a lot is kind of screening a lot of these tools in a simulated way inside of our sessions. We've actually recently created a bit of a tool that might be available on our socials if you go and have a look.
We will aim to put a link in the show notes.
Oh, we're so generous. They're going to get a link.
Hopefully. We've got to make the link first.
But I've had a parent who was quite anxious about their little one moving into big school next year. And when we ran through this screener, it was actually quite empowering for mum to see how many strengths her daughter had. And then when we worked out the things that we were still wanting to work towards, we're thinking, okay, these are achievable goals. These are sensible.
Really
we're
realistic.
on the right track. This is what we've been working towards. Imagine if we did this 6 months ago, half of these things we wouldn't have ticked off. They've developed so much. It becomes a really nice way to make these topics tangible. All the skills that we're talking about that are not academic based, that we know really in and out that a child needs, and parents are not as equipped to know. Something like a tangible tool or a screener can be really helpful for that.
We should highlight though that like it's very rare that a child's going to tick every single box on this 100%
as well.
Like
I will scream it till I'm blue in the face.
That's not the expectation.
For learning how to do prep. We go to school to learn how to go to school. That is the whole point of prep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. Like we often speak to when families come end of term 1 with handwriting goals, and I'm like, they're still learning.
They're still reversing, they're still capitalizing.
Have we actually asked the teacher what the expectation is? Because I know that that's your expectation, that perhaps the older siblings in your household were like, they could write the full alphabet by midway through prep, that kind of thing. But what is the expectation, and where do we need to actually be setting goals versus just giving that child supports and time and space as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I suppose our main points here is that we're really kind of screaming to clinicians that like our role here is to really support that holistic approach for families, and that a ready family is probably a well-supported family as well, that our role is to set up that kinder we're able to reflect on what went well for that child, what helped that child, where those obstacles might have been, communicate whatever they might need to with school.
Yep.
Really supporting that school to feel ready for that child that you're working with in particular as well.
Yeah. I think it's also building the family's capacity to advocate for their child.
Yeah, huge one.
Yeah, and understand what they can advocate for. I think that's a huge thing that we do as clinicians is support the families.
It makes me think of there are definitely children who have higher support needs who may enter mainstream school, they may enter different schools. We want to make sure that their teaching staff are equipped with the skills to use the accommodations that they're being recommended. For example, if someone uses AAC to communicate, we want to make sure that the teaching staff knows how to use that AAC, and that's a role that the clinician can play, maybe the speechies can play in supporting that. If someone has mobility aids, we want to make sure that they are accessing that safely and the teacher knows we don't want to put them off on a table by themselves if we can help it, but we do need a clear floor space between the door and their desk.
Yes.
Or put this child's bag on the bottom locker because they can't reach up over their heads, or all of those kinds of accommodations, all of these things that we're recommending. We want to make sure that the parents know that they can ask for it.
Yeah, I guess
what is reasonable
and that the teachers know
really
how to use it when we're asking them to.
Having sensory supports in the classroom, I think that's a huge one. Like if my child is sensitive to sounds and auditory input.
What options do I have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important, particularly around fidgets and all of that kind of thing, because sometimes teachers will say no, but that doesn't mean that it's not an option. That you need to really support that family to know what they can really push for and advocate for and what's reasonable in that environment.
And that's where collaborating with the teacher is so beneficial, particularly once they're in and going. I understand that I'm recommending this. It may look a bit different in your school, in your classroom. How do we make this work for you?
Yeah.
Not, I'm telling you to do this, so you need to do it. We can't come in as the clinicians and teachers are responsible for sometimes. I was in a classroom with 28 kids on Tuesday, and I thought,
that's poor teachers.
That's a lot of kids in a classroom. Yeah. If I'm telling you for this one child you need to do all these extra things, they're going to say, how am I going to have the time?
Particularly if dependent on the environment, open plan classrooms or team teaching or all of that. It's we've got a lot to navigate in making sure that supports can realistically be implemented.
And consistently.
Yes, consistently. So again, it's really collaboration is key here, isn't it? I'm also going to, before we wrap up, sort of just plug, I'm not saying that there's no teachers or kinder teachers listening. We know that this is a podcast for clinicians, but if you are a teacher listening and you're perhaps we would like to learn more about how we can support these transitions and that kind of thing, Kid Link do offer in-person PDs and workshops around school readiness and building supports and inclusive classrooms and that kind of thing. So if you're interested, we will pop a link in the show notes around that as well, because we love being that role of building that holistic approach and collaborating and empowering all of the adults in the child's life.
Yeah. And off the back of that, I actually remember we do run a school readiness workshop for parents as well.
Oh, great. Oh my gosh, so many things.
So much to offer,
going to be so many links. So we'll put that in too. If you're a parent listening, I'm sure there's clinicians that are also parents. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's am I listening to this for my clinician hat or my parent hat as well? So please have a look at the show notes because there'll be quite a few links there. But I'd like to thank you. Thanks, Mads, for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining,
Thanks,
George.
Katie.
And good luck to all of the kiddies that are looking to transition.
So exciting.
Very exciting.
And they're so cute when they come in their school uniform.
And their giant backpacks.
Oh, yeah.
I think my favourite thing is sometimes in the school readiness group, they'll come in their school uniform.
Bless them. And
it's September the year before. And they're
they're going to grow into it for 4 years
it
as well.
It's baggy.
The T-shirts down to their knees. Oh my gosh, it's my favourite.
It's the best.
So cute. All right, guys, we'll speak to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.